I had a funny situation the other day. I was walking down the street, and it's a street that's real familiar to me. I was crossing the street at an intersection where very frequently people try to nudge me out of the way with their cars or motorcycles, or people actually kind of try to run you over. This came up in my podcast with Mod Vegan. Mod Vegan was asking me about, well, what kind of situations in real life, when do you really have to be prepared for fist fights, for physical confrontations? And I gave this as an example, where literally you're in a situation of saying, look, you're not going to run me over without a fight. Sorry, the camera's acting up. This is this problem I have. When I have both natural light and artificial light, this camera starts to act strangely. Anyway, so, with this particular intersection, I have a lot of practice with people on their motorbikes or their cars kind of ramming into me, or where, I have to look them in the eye. And one of the things I normally say to them in Chinese, I point to the light above me. I say, it's red. You can see that the light is red. They're supposed to stop, and they're not only not stopping, but they're trying to get me to dodge them or whatever, or they're trying to run me over from whatever your perspective is. So at this particular intersection, I have a lot of experience with that kind of confrontation. The funniest thing happened. I really laughed my ass off 30 seconds after this confrontation wrapped up. But I got to this intersection, and most of the time it's people on motorcycles doing that, not cars. Because if the cars run the red light, they can get, they can have a serious accident. For the motorbikes, they can kind of weave through. Let's get to this intersection, and there are two cops in a cop car. Fully uniformed cops in a proper, police car. It's not an undercover car. And the police car doesn't have its sirens on or anything. And the cop car comes to the intersection. And you know what was funny? The two cops, both of them are leaning out the window. So, the two windows, the driver's side and the passenger side, both of them are actually leaning out. And they both have expressions on their face, slightly playful, childish expressions. You can see they're really having fun for whatever reason. They're having a good day, these cops. I don't know what's up. A lot of the time you meet cops and they're morose and tired, but these cops are having a good time. Cops get to the intersection. Now look, I'm not boasting. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3". I'm bald. I look like a foreigner. I don't blend in here in China. You know what I mean? I don't disappear into the crowd. Cops get to this intersection. And the funny thing is, they're looking everywhere except at me. And I'm in front of their car. They're about to fucking run me over. And when you think about it, there's two reasons. Why are they looking around that way? Two reasons. One, they're looking out for other cars they might crash into when they run this red light. And the other thing is, they're looking out for other cops. At that intersection, by that intersection, because there are some nightclubs there, there's actually a police stand, not really a police station. But anyway, it's possible there'd be other cops that would reproach them for running this red light. In China, if they don't have the sirens on, if there isn't an emergency, cops are not supposed to run the red light. They're supposed to, obey the rules like everyone else. Anyway, so the cops come up, and despite the fact that I'm a big guy, it's not like they don't see me, and whatever, I'm a foreigner and I'm bald. These cops not only are going to try to run the red light, but they're going to try to, whatever you're going to say, nudge me out of the way or get me to jump out of the way, because I'm in front of their car. I'm in their path. What am I going to say? And I don't get out of their way. I hold up one hand. If I'm doing this with the camera. I put a hand up in front of the windshield, because I'm walking in front of him. I'm looking the driver straight in the eye. And I say to him, and I don't even have to shout, because he's not behind the wheel. The driver is leaning out the window of the cop car on both sides. They're hanging out the window and smiling. Like I said, they're really enjoying themselves. It's weird. Happy. They're cops having a good day. So I say to him without even raising my voice, because he's not inside. He's kind of halfway out the car. I say to him, it's a red light, isn't it? And the funny thing is, with two men like that, I didn't have to raise my voice. I got my hand up in his face, so to speak. And it's completely clear, if you're going to fuck with me, I'm going to fuck with you. I'm going to fight back. There's no threat, but it's completely obvious in the scenario. You right now are for no reason threatening my life. I'm not going to step out of the way of your car. And, if you don't back down, I'm not going to back down. So we can do this. So much gets communicated. All I said to them was, it's red, isn't it? It's a red light, isn't it? And both of the cops leaning out, it was so funny because you saw the change in expression of faces. They were really enjoying themselves. They were really relishing the moment of having this little meaningless transgression. You know what I mean? They were relishing the opportunity to run this red light. And they just had this childish, joyful expression on their faces. And then they both look at me and they're like, yeah, you're right. You know, it's this sort of adorable, sincere reaction from these two cops in what could be a tense situation. And I got my hand up, and I'm keeping eye contact with them. And I'm not running. I'm not jumping out of their way. I continue walking across the intersection. And when I get across, I really break down laughing because I've been through that with so many drivers now. And different people react in different ways. I've never had someone get sincerely angry with me. When it's a guy on the motorcycle with his girlfriend on the back, sometimes they want to front, like they're going to start a fist fight with me or something. But they all know they're in the wrong. Like fundamentally, they're running a red light and they're nudging me. They're running a red light and it's not a victimless crime. I'm right there in contact with the hood of your car or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really debatable who's in the wrong in these situations. And it's also not debatable that I've got double your body weight. So if we're going to have a fist fight on the tarmac, it's going to go one way. Now, obviously, I don't know. I'm here to learn Chinese. If I spent some time in a Chinese prison, I don't know how that would help my language skills. I don't know how that would go. But this is the ultimate surreal situation. That it's me facing down two cops. Not one, but two cops who know they're in the wrong. And, you know, anyway, whatever. I've been through that same scenario. It's because I'd rehearsed it so many times that I was just so practiced, whatever. And when I got to the cover, I stopped, so I really broke down laughing. Because, you know, I don't know. How does this link back to veganism? You know, the other day I was talking to my teacher. We had this miserable failure of an attempt to go and find a vegan restaurant. Walked a long, long distance in the rain. Feet get wet, shoes get ruined. You know, and she made some comments. She apologized. We ended up not being able to find. We were searching for two different vegan restaurants. And they both didn't exist or what have you. But I remember I said to her, look, you know, she made some excuses. She said, oh, it's sad. This is part of Chinese culture. I said, no. I've lived in Taiwan. I've lived in Hong Kong. It isn't Chinese culture. People become good when they want to become good. You know, when people are interested in morality, when people are interested in the difference between right and wrong, they change their behavior accordingly. And, you know, again, I'm not saying anything bad about these cops. The cops, I mean, they behaved a lot better than some of the other random civilians on motorcycles. And the cops, in this case, they knew they were in the wrong. They knew they were running a red light, and they knew they were disregarding a person who was standing right in front of the hood of their car. A person who either would have to jump out of the way or roll onto the hood of their car or do what I did and tell them to back down. They knew they were in the wrong and they cared. So, you know, they didn't apologize, but they really nodded to me. They put up it and they're like, yeah, they knew I was right. You know, either people care or they don't. And, yeah, it's miserable every day to be bearing that message and be a witness to that fact that you're just in a society where nobody cares about the deaths of millions of animals and the waste and the blood and the gore and the misery and ecological devastation associated with that. But when you're dealing with people like that, even with such a momentary, 45-second interaction with somebody, that's what you're going to find out. Either they care about doing the right thing or they don't. And, I don't know. I mean, I'm not looking for conflict, but it's the ultimate... Again, sorry, so this is what I was talking about before I turned on the camera. There's nothing dramatic about the scenario. The question is, ultimately... are you going to run me over or not? And if you're threatening to run me over, am I supposed to just lay down and let it happen? Or am I going to stand up for myself and say, I'm not going down without a fight? But there's nothing dramatic about it. Comedic. It's more comedic than dramatic, truth be told.